Hi, my name is Larry Big Prine, and I'm here today with my CD talking to you about the 7 principles of Huna. That's what everybody wants to know about to begin with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to list the 7 principles of Huna first, and then we will cover each one of them in a certain amount of detail. Later CDs will have much more in-depth information about each one. And the 7 principles of Huna come from the Polynesian Islands, and they're the foundation of all life systems that are known on Earth. And the 7 principles of Huna are the oldest life system known, and they're also the foundation, as I said. So I'm going to list them quickly, and then we'll go through each one. Principle number 1 of Huna is, the world is what you think it is. Principle number 2 is, there are no limits. Principle number 3, energy flows where attention goes. Principle number 4, now is the moment of power. Principle number 5, to love is to be happy with. Principle number 6, all power comes from within. And principle number 7, effectiveness is the measure of truth. And we'll discuss each one as we go with examples and information about each one individually. Number 1, as I discuss this, let's think about it. Go inside your mind and see internally in your mind and hear what you can hear and feel the feelings and the emotions as you begin to receive the information and put it all together as a unit about what this means, what this sentence or these words actually mean, and not just little things saying something and never paying attention to it and not getting anything out of it and understanding anything about it. Number 1 is, the world is what you think it is. What does that mean? If the world is what you think it is, then guess what? Everything in the world is what you think it is. Everything in your life, therefore, is what you think it is. Nothing in the universe has any meaning in your life other than the meaning that you attach to it and what you think about it and what you believe about it. This is very important to what happens in your life, because everything that happens in your life is the result of your perception of your environment and what your life is about and what's happening in your life. Everything is created out of mind. Everything that's manifested into your life, the people, the events, the circumstances, the situations, everything that is in your life comes out of your thinking about your life and everything in it in a certain way. It's your perception of the world. Principle number 1, the world is what you think it is. It's what your perception is of everything happening around you, to you, in you, of you, by you, for you, in any way, shape, and form in your life. It's all about what you think it is. And your thinking about it produces all the results of every relationship that you're in, every event that occurs, because you are continuously sending out energy and receiving energy back from everybody and everything in your environment. You are completely connected with everybody and everything. You cannot escape it because you're in the energy field. You're always in it. You're always thinking. You're always emitting and receiving energy from everybody and everything in your environment. And that environment goes very far. That environment goes so far, it even covers the entire world. And your thoughts, the energy of your thoughts, travels so fast, and they're very powerful energy. They travel almost at the speed of light. Therefore, the energy of your thoughts and your thoughts themselves literally can travel all the way around the globe at least 5 to 6 times every second. That's why you can think of somebody you haven't seen in 20 years, you don't know where they are, and a couple of minutes later you receive a call from them, and they're living in China, and they said, I don't know why, it's crazy, I haven't seen you in so long, but your thought of you just popped into my mind, and I thought, let me try to get in touch with him and see what he's up to. That's how it happens, because the energy of your thoughts and the thoughts themselves travel at such an incredible rate of speed. That's how rapidly you can communicate with anybody, anywhere in the universe, because there's no such thing as distance separation or time separation. So you always want to be monitoring your thoughts, making sure that they're always resourceful and positive thoughts that can bring you resourceful, good results in your life. If you catch yourself with an unresourceful thought coming into your mind, you want to make sure to catch it, throw it out, reverse it, turn it into something that is very positive and resourceful. And you'll find that the results of it not only work, but you'll be very surprised at how extremely rapidly this can work. It can happen instantly. The results of the way you're thinking can happen anywhere from instantly to as far as you like to take it out, a day, a month. Sometimes the results may not happen for a year because you only occasionally are thinking about it, and in the meantime, when you do think about it, you sabotage it, or you change it, or you go back and forth, or you're wishy-washy. Once you make a final decision, and this is the way it's going to be, you'll be surprised at how instantly and rapidly the results can occur. The choice that's best for you can also be helping others that you are connected with and involved with, because it would be to their advantage, most probably, to be involved with someone who was thinking very consciously and very alertly in a very resourceful way. Do not ever let a thought enter your mind of anything, in any way, shape, and form, of something that you do not want in your life, because everything in the universe is created out of mind, and those are the thoughts that people have that create what is in their world. So if you have something in your world that you don't like, guess what is holding it in your world and manifesting it there in whatever form it's in? It's your thought of it that's keeping it right where it is. If you were not having any thought of it in your mind, it would disappear and go away, because it would have no energy and no instruction to cause it to be manifested in any form in your life. So it's very important. Do not ever think about, look at, listen to, read about, talk about, or listen to other people talk about and discuss anything of any kind that you do not want in your life. Because if you do any of those things, you better watch out, because you could start thinking about it and it could manifest into a physical form in your life. But since you didn't know any better, you didn't know that you were supposed to always avoid looking at, listening to, talking about, reading about, or discussing in any way anything that you don't want in your life. It's very important. Number 2 principle of Huna. The number 2 principle of Huna is there are no limits. Now just think about that for a moment. What does that mean? There are no limits. Well, you hear people talking all the time and they say, well, sure, I love these principles. All 7 of them are great. Absolutely, they're great. You like them? Yeah. Do you believe in them? Absolutely. I'm for these. These are wonderful. I believe every one of them. I'm going to live them in my life. They're going to become a part of me and a part of my life, and it's going to be fabulous. And then you're talking to them one day and you go, well, what about this or that? And they go, oh, well, no, sure, maybe, no, not in that area. Sure, something else, but not, you couldn't do that. Oh, in that. No, not in that area. You couldn't do that. That's not for that. Well, excuse me, I thought you believed in the 7 principles of Huna. I do. Well, you just said I couldn't do something in a certain way concerning a certain area. Right. You'd have to be more realistic there, they would tell you, sure. And I said, so you don't believe principle number 2, I would say. And they said, well, I believe them all. Well, how could you believe principle number 2? There are no limits. When you just told me, oh, no, you have to be more realistic. That would never work. That could never occur. That could never happen there. There are no limits means one thing and one thing only. There are no limits. 0, zilch, nada, not a 1. You are limited in your life only in one way, and that's by the limitations that you place on yourself in your own mind with your own thoughts and words, or also let others place on you that you allow to stay in place. It doesn't say 90% no limitations. It doesn't say there's 98% no limits. It doesn't say there's 99%. It doesn't even say there are 99.99999% no limits. There's that one tiny little speck that you'll find a limitation there. It's not there. If you find somebody that has a little limitation, it's because they made it up in their mind, because everything comes from mind and everything forms out of it, and that includes limitations. So when you hear Huna principle number 2, there are no limits, you can be sure that there are no limits. What you might like to do in your life is to learn to expand your creative thinking. How big can you think? Are you used to thinking very tiny things in your life, and you wonder why you're receiving tiny little things? If you expand your thinking, but I can't think that big. Nobody could do anything that big. Nobody could understand something like that or be involved with something of this size or this level. Really. I don't know how many times you've seen it and heard it, but I've seen it and heard it quite a few times on TV, where the news people will be interviewing somebody, and they will have been unknown, they'll be nondescript, and they will have done something incredibly miraculous, seemingly, and the news reporter always says, what were you thinking? How in the world did you do that? And they always have the same answer. They always go, I really don't know. I don't know what I was thinking or if I was, but I guess I was just too stupid to know I couldn't do it, so I just went ahead and did it. They refused to put a limit on themselves. A part of them knew there are no limits. And a part of them understood you just go for it. You think as big as you can, your previous limits that you have had, you expand beyond them. Once you can begin thinking as big as the universe in a creative way, that's when you will begin to imagine big, wonderful, good things happening in your life that you will be very happy with, and that you will realize, I can receive even more than this, even bigger than this, even better than this. It's very important for you to begin removing all of those limitations that you have lived under all of your life. Get rid of those limitations, move them out, shift them over, throw them in the garbage can, pressure wash them off of your brain. Do whatever you know how to do best. Turn the TV off that runs them in your mind. Pull the plug out of the radio cord that's been playing them in your ear. Whitewash them with a airbrush filled with pure white paint. Get rid of them. Clap your hands at them and shoo them off and watch them run and flee, because those limitations cannot stand the light of day. They are unresourceful, they are no good for you, they hold you back, and they keep you from being all you can be and fulfilling your destiny of who you have the birthright to be, and that is as creative and as big and as expansive and as in a wonderful environment that you have created in your life that you can imagine. They cannot stand the light of day, and when you catch them and you realize, I've placed this limitation here, they will begin to flee. They'll get nervous, and then you know how to send them away and help them vanish, disappear, and they'll be gone from your life. And you'll notice suddenly, very soon, you'll become aware that you're doing things in your life that you didn't really think you could do before. And wow, I can't believe I went over there and did that. Wow, this is amazing. I was not aware that this could happen. You will notice things happening like that. People will notice that you don't have limitations. They will be offering you things. They will be doing things. They will be understanding, because they're receiving an energy from you that's very important for you to be sending out, because remember, you're always emitting and receiving energies from everybody and everything in your environment at all times, which leads us to principle number 3 of Huna. Energy flows where attention goes. What in the world could that mean? Well, it means that whatever you're involved with, whatever you're focused on, whatever you're thinking about, whoever you're talking to, the project you're working on, your spouse, the people you're traveling with, everything in your life that you put your attention on, your energy is going to flow to that person, animal, tree, river, canoe, pet, cloud, whatever it is. Whatever you put your attention on, your energy is going to flow there. Now, why would it be important to know this? Of what use could that certainly be to me? I know when I look at something that I'm focused on it and I'm thinking about it and it's probably getting some energy. Well, a lot of people that I have met, sometimes in their life, they find that they're wrapped up in a situation or involved in something where they find that they're burning up and wasting all their energy on somebody or something that has of no real value to them at all. And I say to them, you know, energy is very important. You need energy to be alive and vibrant and go and do and think and be and live. Energy is very important to you. So why would you want to burn up all of your valuable energy on somebody or something that's completely worthless to you in any resourceful way? And then you find you have no energy left for all these important things that you need it for. So it's very important to learn to focus your attention only on things that are resourceful and valuable to you, and toss aside all these things that have been distracting you and drawing your attention and sucking in all of your valuable energy. If you only had $1 and you could only get $1's worth of gas, and you needed to drive somewhere in your car to a building that was $1 worth of gas away, and when you got to that building in your car and you only have $1 worth of gas in it, when you got to that building, they were going to give you $1 million. Would you spend part of your time driving around town looking at buildings and other places that was not going to give you $1 million or anything of value and resourceful in your life, and burn up half your gas and then decide, oh gosh, I've got to go over to that building and get my $1 million or whatever it is of value that they have to offer you? And then you start driving your car over there, oh, and suddenly your car's out of gas and you parked over on the side of the road, and now nobody will pick you up and you got to start walking, and then your shoe blows out and you're on the hot asphalt, and you get off on the side, and then you got the sand spurs to deal with, and then you got a loose dog in the field, a feral dog that comes chasing you trying to bite your leg off. Why would you put up with that? Why would you even risk that? You could have gone straight over there if you'd have just focused your attention on what was important and necessary right to start. Learn to eliminate all of these distractions and things of no value to you in your life, of any resourcefulness at all that can bring you any value, that will add to your life. Learn to move out all of these distractions that you have been looking at, focusing on, attending with your attention and your awareness, and burning up all your valuable energy, your gasoline. Get in your car and go straight over to that building. Then once you go to the building with plenty of attention and plenty of gas, you will be able to get more energy. And then if you want to pick and choose maybe one or two of those other little things that you've now learned to sidetrack and get out of the way and not roadblock you and put a limit on you in your life, you can choose to have some fun and play with those and not focus so much attention on them as you had, and not burn up so much energy. And then as you replenish your energy and you re-energize, you can go back again whenever you like. Just stop focusing so much attention on people, places, things, events, situations, circumstances, conditions that are getting you absolutely no thing of real value in your life that is resourceful in any way. Stop focusing so much attention on them or it, and burning up all your valuable energy that you can be using at the same time from something much more valuable and resourceful. It's very simple. Energy flows where attention goes. Principle number 4 of Huna is, now is the moment of power. I wonder what that means and all the connotations of it. Now is the moment of power is one of the most valuable ones of the 7 that I have ever learned and used and been involved with, especially recently. Many times I will think recently, I need to contact somebody, but I'll do it tonight. I'll call them tonight. This was somebody very important, was something very resourceful for me, someone I wished very much to be in contact with, had not talked to them. I said, I'll call them tonight. I won't bother them. They're very important people. They're very busy. I'll call them tonight. It was 2:20 in the afternoon. I was sitting at my home. And then a thought came into my mind, and I said, no, now is the moment of power. Right now is the moment of power. This is when your power is always right now. This is when you have your power to do everything, because you're living now, not tonight, not tomorrow, not yesterday, not last month. You're living right now. This is where all of your power always is, right now. So I said, I'm going to call him right now. And I dialed the phone, and I remember looking at the clock, and it said 2:20 in the afternoon. And the phone rang a few times, and lo and behold, he picked up himself and spoke to me on the phone, and we had a fabulous conversation. It lasted about 35 or 40 minutes, and the only reason that I got him, he was driving down the highway from one state to another. I told him, I said, I was thinking about calling you tonight, but I said, no, I need to call him right now is the best time. And he told me, if you had waited till tonight to call me, you would not have gotten in touch with me. This is the only time you could have reached me, was while I was driving down this highway, because tonight we're going to a location where they don't allow cell phones. I said, what do you mean? How is that possible? He said, they're so rich. They're billionaires, and they don't allow it in their area. They don't allow the towers, reception, the usage, nothing. These are very rich people, and they make the rules, and they don't allow cell phones in their area of where they live. He said, that's where we'll be tonight. And he said, if you had called me tonight, you couldn't have got me, because they don't allow cell phone and cell phone reception there. So as I sat there that afternoon, this has happened many times recently. Many times I will say, I'll do that at such and such. No, right now. Right now's the time. And I do it, and it's always perfect. It's always the exact right thing to do at the right time. Most people, I will say most, I've not done a scientific study. I don't know the numbers, but I will be willing to bet you one shiny nickel. It's what I like to bet. It's got to be shiny. I will be willing to bet you one that most people in the world spend most of their time living either in regret of the past or in some kind of sentimental nostalgia of reliving the old days, that they find it gives them some sort of happiness or solace. Or they live their lives in fear of the future or overexcited anticipation of what might be happening, I don't know how far ahead. And because they're living in their mind most of the time thinking about regret of the past or sentimentality of the past or fear of the future or anticipation of the future, they miss almost everything that's happening right here, right now, in the reality of where they're at, which is the now. Because everything if you think about it, happens now. It can only happen at one time, and that's now. Well, you say, oh, well, what about back then? What about back in the Civil War at Gettysburg when they made that charge and they come in, and that happened in the past compared to right now it did. But back then when they charged, they were charging now. They got the signal and the man said, it's time to go now. So when it happened now. And next month, when you go to the circus or to Disney World or to the baseball game or wherever you're excited about you're going to be going, guess what? When that day arrives and you go over there, it's going to be now. It's not going to be next month. When you finally go, it will be now. So everything that's ever happened in the existence of the universe had to happen right now. It's the only time anything can happen. So if you're spending your life in the past and the future a lot, or even a mediocre amount, or even 10%, or even 5%, or 2%, I might suggest to you that you come out here with the rest of us, out into the real world, the so-called real world, and enjoy and experience the now. Because to know anything and to be anything, to be anything, first of all, you have to know something. On my first skydive over at Skydive to Land, I had never been skydiving, and they trained us in a special way. It was called AFF, Accelerated Free Fall. That's where they ground train you for a half a day, how to get in and out of the plane. They've got you in the hangar. You're hanging in straps. They're telling you everything that could happen, what's going to happen, how the chute works, if there's trouble, what you do with the chute. You have to ground train, especially by the jump instructors, for half a day. And then when you're trained and they say you're ready, you get in the plane and you go up with them, and you got your own parachute. This is not no tandem jump. You got your own chute on your back, and when you jump out of that airplane going 100 miles an hour at 11,000 feet above the jump zone circling the airport, you get to pull your own ripcord, and you go down with your own chute on your own by yourself. You don't have nobody strapped to your back. It's not the way it works. You jump out with your own chute. They hold on to you, two instructors, to stabilize you. Otherwise, you go into a spin and probably never come out. And of course, they would not be a good result. So they hold on to you. It's your first jump. You pull your own ripcord, the chute opens up, and you go. They told me everything that it was going to be. They told me I knew what it was going to be. I thought I knew what it was going to be. But I cannot jump. The line is knowing, experiencing, and being. I cannot jump from knowing what they told me it was going to be to being a skydiver. I must experience it first. I jump out of the plane. I free fall. I'm falling about 1,000 feet every 5 to 6 seconds. You have no sensation of falling. You're viewing the countryside, Daytona Beach, the ocean, whatever you're looking at. You're so high up there. And at a certain point, they give you a signal. They point in front of your face. One of them reaches over and says, pull. And you pull your ripcord, and your chute opens, and you're up, and they just continue to drop as far and as low down as they can, because they get their rush from opening as low as they can open, I assume. They're very, very, very adventurous people. They're some of the most adventurous people I have ever met, the skydive instructors. You cannot be a skydiver or say you are one until you have experienced the jump, because when you jump out and suddenly you think you know what it's going to be, they've tried to prepare you as best they can. Other people, friends of yours, they'll tell you this is what it's going to be like. And what they're doing is They're trying to make you feel like comfortable and at ease as best they can, because when you jump out of that airplane for the first time and you feel the rush and you look and the ground is coming up and you hear the sound, you're searching through your mind as fast as you can through every file, every memory file that you have, trying to find something that in your life that has happened to you that you can compare this to try to give you a little bit of more comfort about what you've done. And what you come up with is a big, fat zero. There is nothing in your life that you have ever done that can compare to jumping out of that airplane at 11,000 feet with your own chute for the first time. You come up with a zero. You must experience it before you can become what it is. It's that way with everything in life. Everything is a microcosm of the universe and of life. I don't care what it is, whether it's skydiving or river rafting or being an architect. You can learn architecture, but until you design the design and that building is built and you see it standing and you experience the process of having your building built from your design, you cannot tell anybody that you're an architect. You can't be an architect until you've learned the information and you know it. Knowing it doesn't make you be it. After you learn it and know it, then you've got to experience it. You got to do it. You got to be it after you experience it. And that's the process. And in the now is the moment of power. Principle number 4 of Huna, as we were discussing. That's where all your power is. Not tomorrow, not later tonight, not this afternoon, not I'll do it in a couple of hours. I'll just wait. I'll do it in a half hour or something. I got some other stuff. No, now, right now. This is your moment of power, because you wouldn't have thought about it, of doing it now, if it hadn't been the right moment to do it. It would not have entered your mind as having been the right thing to do right now. Don't put it off. Don't put off waking up in your life and finally opening your eyes and opening your ears, because you've heard it said before, many have eyes to see and do not see. Many have ears, but they do not hear. Do not put off another second of finally waking up in your life and opening your eyes and your ears and finally beginning to learn and know and experience and become conscious in your life, so you will finally be aware of the truth, so you can know the truth, experience the truth, and then be the truth. And if you can do that, and you can hurdle that hesitation that you've been using to put it off, some kind of excuse, I'll do it tomorrow. Sure you will. And then what do you say tomorrow? Well, I do it tomorrow. I was busy today. One of the greatest diseases mankind has ever been afflicted with is called the disease of tomorrow. Since I did no work today, I will gladly redouble my efforts tomorrow, and it will all be wonderful. Well, guess what? Never comes, and there's always another excuse, and people have no clue how to take personal responsibility for everything that's in their life, because everything in your life is produced out of your mind, and the thoughts in your mind and the words in your mind and the words that come out of your mouth. What goes in a man's mouth is not what gets him in trouble. It's what comes out of his mouth. because every time you say something, and this leads us into principle number 5 of Huna, to love is to be happy with. When you say something out of your mouth, it becomes a law in your life. If you say, I've got this big project coming up and it is going to be horrible, it's going to be the worst, the heaviest labor, the most time, the most trouble. Oh gosh, it's going to take it might take a year, 6 months to a year. It's going to be horrible. Oh, I'm going to hate it. Guess what? You have just made that a law in your life that you must deal with now on that project. Think of how much different it would be. Think of how wonderful this project would be and how easy it would be if instead of saying that and thinking that and making that picture and getting that feeling and emotion inside and attaching yourself to that law, how would it be different if you told somebody, I've got this project coming on, and I'm telling you right now, it's going to be easy, it's going to be smooth as silk, it's going to glide, it's going to be short, it's going to be the easiest one I probably ever did, I'm going to love it, I'm going to enjoy it. Guess what? You have now made that a law in your life, that's how it's going to be operating under your participation in it. Okay, let's say a week into it, that's true, and suddenly there's a roadblock. Somebody throws a monkey wrench into the engine and it's all clogged up. How you gonna fix it? You told me it was a law and it was going to be smooth and easy. That's right. What brought that monkey wrench in was you had made a change and you had magnetized that monkey wrench in yourself through your thoughts and your energy vibration that you sent out because you couldn't stand how good and easy it was. You had to screw it up somehow. So you called for a monkey wrench to come in and mess this up so I can egoically, proudly announce to people, see, I really thought it was going to be trouble. The monkey wrench comes in, that's no problem. All you got to do is once again change what you're thinking about it, and the monkey wrench is going to go out and it's going to return to smooth. Everything occurs in your life and runs the way it does because of the way you're thinking about it. Back to principle number 1 of Huna. The world is what you think it is. The easiness or difficulty of this project is what you think it is. It's what you're saying it is. Principle number 2, there are no limits as to how easy and smooth and clear you can make it by simply thinking a different thought about it. If you want something new and different to happen in your life, all you have to do is begin to have new and different thoughts, because your thoughts produce everything in your life. And if you want to get up out of that pity party you've been living in and that excuse world of blaming somebody or something else for your lack of success or your lack of progress or your lack of being able to do what you want to do, if you're ready now, principle number 4, then you can focus your attention. Stop thinking about things that you don't want in your life and how it can be screwed up and how they ripped me off and they cheated me and they didn't hire me because of this or that or these or those or others. None of it's true. It's all a lie. It's all false. You are personally responsible for everything in your life. Why? Well, how can that be? How is that possible? Why are you blaming me? I'm not blaming you. I'm telling you how it works. It's the law of the universe. The law is set. It never changes. It is always true. It is always in place. It always works, and it never varies how it works. You are putting out an energy and thoughts and words and emotions that are attaching to, interchanging with, receiving from everybody and everything in your environment all the time. It's impossible to escape it. I'm sorry, you're out there in the energy field, so you're going to be involved in energies flowing back and forth all the time. And if you're putting out, if you've got your tuning fork tuned to a unresourceful, we'll call it an unresourceful, bad, or negative energy. If that's what your tuning fork is tuned to, that's the vibration you're putting out. Guess what? You can be out there and there can be 100 people and 99 of them are sending out a good vibration, and there's one guy right in the middle with a bad vibration coming out. Guess what? He's going to come right over you, because like vibrations attract each other in this universe of polarities of 3 dimensions. That's the way it works. If you're sending out a bad vibration, you're going to track in the bad vibration guy, and you're going to link up with him and do something with him that you might not end up liking, like down at the bank or the store or the car lot or wherever it is. There was a little band called the Beach Boys that once told you how important it was. Got to keep those good vibrations going. I'm getting excitations. I'm feeling good vibrations. You don't want no bad vibrations coming in. That's going to bring you something that you're going to wish you hadn't brought in, and then you're going to have to fix it. You can fix it. You can fix anything. You can fix anything. Everything that's happened in your life up till now, you say, how could I ever make it? Look at my past. Look at what I've been through. Look at what I might have to go through. Hogwash. Stop your pity party. That has nothing to do with any so-called reality of today. It's not in the now. So what if somebody beat you as a child, or they threw you out into the river, or wherever it was? Whatever happened to you? When was that? When was that? 1960 what? See, pardon me, we're in 2014. What's that got to do with right now? It's not happening now. It's not here. How could you possibly be affected by? Oh, I get it. You're thinking about it in your mind. You're living in regret of the past, not the now. Get out of the past. Come up to the now. You'll feel better. You'll think better. You'll talk better. Everything in your life will become better once you cut those old lines. You don't have to forget everything that's happening in your life, but if you're unhappy with things that have happened in your life, you need to do one of 2 things. You need to either forget about them or forgive. If you can't forget about them, if you can't get yourself to do it, which you can, but if you refuse to forget about them, then it's very best, very important that you go ahead and forgive what that was, so you can move on with new, vital, vibrant energy. How do I do that? Be creative. Think of it in your mind. Every subconscious mind knows the answer to every challenge that you will ever have in your life. Learn to trust yourself. Learn to trust what you're doing is right and the proper thing, and it's right on time, and you'll find that everything you're doing is the exact right thing to do, or say at the right time. How did that happen? It's because you trusted yourself that it was going to, and you started to believe it. Whatever you believe is what you're thinking. The world is what you think it is. Your ability to say and do the exact right thing all the time, every time, right on time, is what you think it is. Principle number 1 of Huna. Number 5, as we were been discussing, to love is to be happy with. I want to say one more thing about that. What that means is, if you love somebody or something, no matter what it is or who they are, if you love somebody or something, then you're perfectly happy with them or it exactly the way they are. They don't need to change one iota. You don't need to remake them. You don't need to tell them. You don't need to do anything. If you love somebody or something, you're perfectly happy with them. Principle number 5, to love is to be happy with. If you find yourself in your life trying to change and mold to your liking somebody or something that you previously had believed that you loved, if you find yourself at some point trying to change them or remake them or remold them because you're not completely happy with the way it is or the way they are, you might want to sit down and rethink this claim of yours that you love them or it. Doesn't mean that you don't love them or it. It means somehow you have begun thinking in your mind differently about them. If you want to return to the love and the happiness that you had originally with them or it, all you have to do is think a different thought like you were before. A friend of mine recently told me he was having trouble with his daughter, teenage daughter. He said, I've come to the realization there ain't nothing I can do with her. There ain't nothing I can do. It's bad. It's not a good relationship. And I told him, I said, listen, all it is the way you're thinking about it. If you want it to be different, all you have to do is have a different thought. That's all you have to do. You don't have to make anything. You don't have to do anything. Start thinking about it differently, I told him. See an image in your mind of it working real well, of y'all being together, smiling, happy, having a good time, being pleasant to each other. Feel how good that would feel when the change is made to the good side. Hear what it sounds like. Hear what you will say to her. Hear what she'll say back. Listen how the conversation is different. And everything is pleasant and it's working. And this was about 2.5 weeks ago or something. And he left. And I spoke to him just maybe a day or two ago. And he said, it is remarkable. I used what you said. I started thinking differently about it. And it began gradually to change. And it's perfect. It took about 2 weeks, and it coalesced, and it finally came to fruition just within a day or two before that. So it was about a 2-week process. They were both learning as they went. It takes two to tango. As he began to think differently, she may have balked a little. Eventually, she couldn't resist. She had to start thinking differently to match his vibration of the goodness of it. It took a couple of weeks. He said it's fabulous. It's completely different. It's all changed. Listen to that, people. What did he have to do? He had trouble. It was not working. He figured, there's nothing I can do. He didn't have to do anything. He didn't have to make anything. He didn't have to create anything. He didn't have to take her to a clinic. He didn't have to buy her a present. He didn't have to show her any favoritism. He didn't have to sit her down and have a talk. He didn't have to whip her. He didn't have to do. You don't have to do or create or make anything in your life. You don't do or create or make anything. The universe makes it, and it's your thinking and the way you think that merely keeps it, places the order with the universe, and it keeps the channels clear for the universe to just flood it into you. The universe makes everything, the universal mind. There's only one mind, and you and me and everybody else is right at the center of it. And once you can begin to realize every day, every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, that you are at the center of the one universal mind, the one creative mind, that's the most creative mind that could ever be imagined. Guess what? That's your mind. Your mind is the creative mind, because you're at the center of it, and so is mine, and so is everybody else's. Well, why aren't everybody using it? Because they've been taught all their lives to keep your feet on the ground, keep your head out of the clouds, stay in that line, speak when spoken to, don't cause trouble, stop that, you're being foolish, that will never work, you're only human. That's why they don't use it, because it's beat out of them, it's talked out of them, it's pulled, pushed, everything out of them their whole life. If it had not been, they would have enormous powers that they couldn't imagine would be theirs to create anything they wanted in their life. That's how it works. And my friend did not have to do or create or make anything. All he had to do was think a thought. That's the way it works, ladies and gentlemen. That's the law of the universe. It's been in place forever, since the beginning of before anybody ever thought about making up the word time, or thought about making up the word distance, so everybody could, in their little way, could think maybe they couldn't wrap their mind around the universe. So let's give them something smaller to think about. Let's give them a mile, and let's give them a yard. And that way, when you talk to them, they'll say, well, it's only a mile away. I guess I could come. How? What? 10 miles? Oh, no, I could never make that. That's too far. There is no difference in time and distance. It's all imaginary. It all depends on how you're thinking about it. If it's worth it to you, if it's valuable to you, you will crawl on your hands and knees to get there, to get what it is that's available, where the consciousness information is coming to you that can finally wake you up in your life, so you can see and hear the truth that you have been lied to all your life by many people. And many of these people, I'm not talking about bad people, well-meaning people, people that thought they knew the truth, but they didn't, because they had been lied to all their life by other well-meaning people who thought they knew the truth. And of course they didn't, and they never did, and they never will. If you have become a brick in the wall and you're tired of it and you want to get out, you need to have a new thought. You need to say something different. You need to feel a different feeling. You don't need to go to a new state. You don't need to go to a new country. You don't need to move to a new section of town. You take with you what you are. If you take success to the new part of town or the new state or the new country, you will find success there. If you take failure with you, you will find failure there. It's all internal, has nothing to do with where you go or who the people are, because you are responsible for everything in your life, because you have the power to produce everything in your life, and you do, from your thoughts and your words and the laws of your life that you make to be laws unto yourself. It's the way it's structured. It's the way it works. It never varies. It's always perfect. There's never been a mistake. It will always be that way. If you think you know better and you want to go on your own way and try something different, that you're very welcome to it. It's not my responsibility to save the world or even one person in it. My responsibility is to wake up and become conscious in my life and begin to take personal responsibility for everything in my life, because that's exactly how it works and what it is. People can't take any responsibility most of the time. It's always so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that, my toe hurt, it rained, something happened, they cheated me, they don't like me. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always something else. If you like living like that, I will tell you what Mr. Gurdjieff would tell his students. He would say, if you can't get going and start doing what you need to do to get yourself moving in the direction of becoming conscious and waking up, if you can't do it, then all I can tell you is take very good care of your health and enjoy your sleep, because you're going to have a long sleep, and there's going to be a lot of people sleeping at the hotel, the unconscious hotel. Elvis Presley talked about Heartbreak Hotel. Well, you're going to be sleeping at unconscious hotel, and there's going to be a lot of people there, and the bellhop's going to be just as lonely there as he was at Heartbreak Hotel. And there's going to be a lot of mechanicalness and heaviness there, and there's going to be a lot of machine-like people that you meet, a lot of sheep-like people that follow in line and never color out of the lines and never step across that line, and never take a chance and never do what they're told not to do. By who? How would they know that that person might be good for them to do this or that? Well, they don't. So stop listening to people telling you how to run your life and what to do, because you are on your own personal journey, and every human on earth is on their own personal journey. And I am on my own personal journey, and I'm the only one on it. I can have friends come along, family, acquaintances, lovers, relationships, whoever, everybody, anybody's welcome to come along on my journey. But they will not be telling me where to go on my journey or how to get there or what to do when I get there, because that's my journey and I know the answers to it. And I don't have any right to tell you or anybody else that's on their personal journey what road they should take and how they should do it and what they should do. It's none of my business. It's not my right. You're on your journey. Your subconscious mind knows the answer to every challenge you will ever have in your life. Begin to trust yourself, people. Believe that you know. Principle number 1 of Huna. Your ability to make it is what you think it is. Your ability to be the best you can be is what you think it is. Your ability to have everything in the world you want is what you think it is. That's just principle number 1, ladies and gentlemen. All the rest, magnify that one by 1,000-fold. Now let's move on to principle number 6. And I just touched on it, so we'll move probably fairly rapidly on this one. Principle number 6 of Huna is all power comes from within. All what power? From where within? All of your power comes from within you. It does not come from anywhere outside you. It does not come from any other person. All of your power comes from within, from inside of you. And guess where that power might be? That power might be in the thoughts in your mind. Principle number 1 of Huna. The power of my thoughts is what I think it is. See, all of these principles mean everything that there is. There's nothing you can't attach them to and acquaint them with, because they're enveloped and wrapped and connected to everything in the universe. That's why they're the 7 principles of Huna, and that's why Huna is the oldest, truest, purest form of any system ever in life, and that's why all the others were founded on Huna, and the reason that they're all fallen, and the reason that they're all decaying, and that the reason they're all producing people producing wretched, pathetic, insane behaviors is because people said, we know better than Huna. We're smarter than Huna. We'll add this to ours. We'll take this one and change the end a little bit. We'll tweak these two, and we'll drop this one out. We really don't like this one. This one doesn't fit with our belief system. And ours will be better. Well, maybe it was for a day or two or a week or maybe a year. I don't know. But I do know that because of their tampering with Huna, foundational system, which is true and pure, these others can never bring you anything of any incredible value that Huna can bring you. If you believed just the 7 principles of Huna, and you actually really believed it and had faith and knew that they were true, and you lived these every day of your life, in every aspect of your life, guess what? You would never need anybody or anything else. You wouldn't need a building to go to hear somebody talk about it. You wouldn't need a candle to light. You wouldn't need a club to join. If you honestly believed these 7 principles and lived them and understood them and experienced them, guess what? If you learn them and know them and you begin to use them, people, and practice them, what does practice mean? Experience them as you go along. You learn them, that means you know them. You practice them, that's the experience. What comes after knowing and experiencing? Being. You learn the information, what they are. You think about them. Think a long while, not a minute. Think longer than that. People are afraid to think. They've lost the ability and power in their minds to think past 10 seconds, and they got to flit on to something else. Focus. Put your attention on something that is of value to you. This has got some value for you. I would recommend that you focus your attention on this information. Learn it so you know it. Begin to practice it every time you think of it. You get the experience of, you find out that it is true. Oh my gosh, this is the way it is. And eventually, after you practice it and experience it enough, you will be it. You'll be a walking Huna master, literally. You won't need anything else. You'll have powers you can't imagine now. If you believed these 7 principles and lived your life by them, that's all you'd ever need. Nobody, nothing could ever touch you or bring you any harm, sadness, illness, danger, anything you could think of that you don't want in your life. Nobody or nothing could ever touch you with it again. Because believing these principles and living these principles makes no room for it to ever even come near your neighborhood. It'll be over across town where people don't know this or they don't believe it. Oh, there'll be trouble over across town. And there may be trouble down your street, but there won't be no trouble at your house. And when you leave your house, there won't be no trouble wherever you go, because you'll take these belief systems with you and you'll live them and be them. And everybody that comes in contact with you at some point will look at you and say, "What do you do? Can I come along where you're going and just talk to you? Can you teach me? I don't know what it is I want, but I know I need to know how you got to be how you are, because that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for." And these will be people who you can speak to, because it's for a few people. You can speak to these people and reveal the information to them. Most people don't want to hear it. They don't want to know anything about it. They like their sleep. They like to walk in line where they're safe. And they like their suit and their tie and their briefcase. Nothing wrong with having a suit and a tie and a briefcase. Absolutely not. As long as you're conscious. I wouldn't want to be doing that when I was unconscious, because if I'm unconscious, that means I'm another brick in the wall, and I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. I'm not joining your club. I'm not going to be in your world. It will not work. You cannot fool me again. As the Who said, won't be fooled again. I'm gone. I'm out of your club. You get somebody else. Principle number 7. Principle number 7 says, effectiveness is the measure of truth. What does that mean? It means that if what you are doing in your life is getting you an effective result that you are looking for, that you're after, if what you're doing is getting you an effective result in your life, then it's true in your life, whatever it is you're doing to get that result. If what you're doing is not getting you an effective result in your life, then it's not true. So you're not getting an effective result with what you're doing. Continue on, see if it will work. If it doesn't, then you need to alter it a little bit, tweak it a little bit, make some changes, be creative. Use your creative mind. Prune principle number 1, your ability to make what you're doing work or find what will work is what you think it is. How could I make it different? Imagine something, try it, experience it. If it still doesn't work, think of something else. Use your mind. Learn to think. Be independent. Stop needing somebody else all the time so much. And I'm not talking about just for little things. I'm talking about big things that you may need to change in your life. You say, well, how can I do that? I can't do that. Well, as long as you're talking like that and thinking like that, you can't. If you said something different and you had a different thought and idea, guess what? You might be surprised as all get out how incredibly rapidly you could get the result you really wanted just by saying something different and thinking a different thought. And I'm not talking about doing it once and it not working and saying, see, I told you it don't work. A person that puts their hand to the plow and removes it deserves no reward. Put your hand to the plow. Keep it there until you finish plowing the field, until you've exhausted any ideas you can. You can think of something, tweak it, change it. If you still can't get it to work, then you need to chuck that and get it out of there and do something completely different until you find what does work and get you the result you're after. That's what effectiveness is the measure of truth means in your life in Huna. This is a foundational CD. This is just something short on each of the 7. I will have more CDs to follow. I wish that you enjoy, use, know, experience, and become the information that you will learn on this CD. You deserve it. I'm doing it for numerous reasons, and one of them is for you, that you will have this information. I am very happy that you're able to hear this. Use it. Don't put it on the shelf. Use it. It's very valuable. I wish to be in contact with you soon and hear from you, hear the results. Those are always great to know. And I will see, hear, speak to you, feel, touch, and be in contact with you all very soon. That is my wish. Thank you very much.